Welcome to Niger Voice Television, where we give voice to the unheard.
Former President of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, who died on the 13th of July 2025 in United Kingdom, his biography have been stated in public for the general populace to know when he was born and his life in secondary school, how he joined the military, became a general, head of state and a civilian government, how he became a president of Nigeria in 2015 down to 2023. In this video, all details of all you need to know about his life will be displayed. Here are more details of how he spent his life before he was called to glory. This is Niger Voice, where we give voice to the unheard. Stay tuned for more details.
Former President Muhammadu Buhari has passed on to the great beyond in a hospital in London, and today we discuss his life and times. This is Muhammadu Buhari. Who was he? When was he born? What school did he attend? What were his services to Nigeria? Military positions? Which of them did he occupy? And how many wives did he have? How many children did he have? And all that have been discussed in this video. He was born in Daura in British Nigeria on 17th December 1942. At the time of his death, he was 82 years old. This is Daura, the ancient city of Daura where he was born. Daura is very close to Niger Republic. They share the same boundary. This is Daura. This is Niger Republic. This is the map of Nigeria. You recall that when he was alive, Muhammadu Buhari made repeated mention of his close ties, his affinity with this country, to the extent that he even constructed a rail way from Daura in Nigeria to Niger Republic. He spoke about his close affinity with Niger Republic, right? His father was Malam Hado Adamo and his mother was Sulihat. Buhari was the 23rd child of his father and his mother had 6 children. Large family, you can see it here, right? Now, his father died at the age of 4 and he was taken over by a guardian. His welfare, his education, and the welfare of his siblings and that of his mother was taken over by a guardian. And the guardian's name was Waziri Al-Hassan. Now, young Buhari attended Quranic school like most other children of the Islamic faith. He attended Quranic school growing up. He also went to primary school in Daura and Mayadua and graduated in 1953. From there, he moved to Katsina Provincial Secondary School from 1956 to 1961. At Katsina Provincial Secondary School, he served as house captain. Katsina Provincial Secondary School was a very prominent school in northern Nigeria at the time. It is still a prominent school in history today. If you look at this photograph, you see the man here, the young man here, right, is Muhammadu Buhari. He's the one wearing glasses, dark goggles here, sandwiched by, this should be an expatriate teacher, and then his classmates. This is Muhammadu Buhari at the Katsina Provincial Secondary School. In 1962, at the age of 19, he enrolled in the military. At that time, what is today known as the Nigerian Defense Academy was known as Nigerian Military Training College, NMTC. He was admitted along with 69 other persons, making it 70 persons in his class, right? And from there, he was sent for further military training at Mons Officers Cadet School in Aldershot, England, right? In 1963, he was commissioned into the Nigerian Army as a second lieutenant. At that time, he was 20 years old. From there, he was posted to Abeokuta, back home in Nigeria, where he served as platoon commander of the 2nd Infantry Battalion. In 1964, he returned to the United Kingdom for further studies for the Mechanical Transport Officers course in the United Kingdom and thereafter he came back between 1965 to 1967. He served as commander of the 2nd Infantry Battalion and was later appointed as Brigade Major of 1st Infantry Division of the Nigerian Army. In 1967, Nigeria declared war against the Ojukwu secessionist state of Biafra, and all the officers of the Nigerian Army were deployed to the field. Buhari was deployed to the field. He moved from Kaduna and relocated to Makurdi, where they had their operational base under the 1st Division, which was commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Muhammadu Shua. From Makurdi in Benue State, present-day Benue State, they moved into Afikpo, moved into Ogoja, moved into Gakem in present-day Cross River State. History has it that the first shots of the Nigeria-Biafra Civil War were fired at Gakem in present-day Cross River State. So Buhari was deployed to the field. He was in the field. He saw people dying. He also saw people surviving. He barely cheated death because lots of his colleagues died. There were casualties on both sides. The war was expected to end in no time, but the war ended up lasting for 30 months. And for 30 months, casualties were on both sides, Nigerian side and the Biafran side. When the war ended, Buhari then returned to normal military duties. In 1980, he attended the U.S. Army War College, Pennsylvania, in the United States, and gained a master's degree in strategic studies from this institution, master's degree in strategic studies. From 1980 to 1981, he served as GOC of the 4th Infantry Division. From January 1981 to October 1981, he served as GOC of the 2nd Mechanized Division, and from October 1981 to December 1983, he served as GOC of the 3rd Armed Division in Jos. It was during his service as the General Officer Commanding in Jos in 1983 that Shagari was toppled, and then he became the military head of state of Nigeria. Like I stated, in 1983, he emerged as military head of state of Nigeria following a successful military coup that removed civilian President Shehu Shagari from office, and Buhari then became the military head of state of Nigeria. He had Tunde Idiagbon from Kwara State as his deputy. Tunde's name was was much more popular, during that administration because of the reforms of that administration that were spearheaded by Tunde Idiagbon. But Buhari was the military head of state while Idiagbon was the deputy. 2 years after, precisely in 1985, Buhari was toppled in a military coup. The same gentleman that brought him to power also removed him. He was brought to power by Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, Joshua Dogonyaro, Sani Abacha, David Mark, and many other young, vibrant military officers at the time. They brought him in. 2 years after, they were not satisfied with his leadership style, and so they also removed him from power. And the person they brought to power to replace him was Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. Buhari was arrested and then taken to Benin City, where he was kept under house arrest. He stayed under house arrest for 3 years. For 3 years, he was not allowed to step out of the bungalow in Benin City, where he was kept under house arrest. Soldiers guarded the place 24/7. And he was only allowed to have access to television and have access to radio. Few family members were screened thoroughly before they were allowed to go in and see him. He only left the house arrest when his mother died, and the military allowed him to go home and never compelled him to return to the house arrest anymore. And from that time, he lived a quiet life in Daura until Babangida's administration came to an end, and the next person that took over as a military officer was Sani Abacha. It was Sani Abacha that brought him back to public service. Abacha appointed him as chairman of the PTF, Petroleum Trust Fund. PTF is a body funded by government of Nigeria, still funded to today for development projects, and Muhammadu Buhari was appointed by this man This is Sani Abacha. Buhari was appointed by Abacha as chairman of the PTF. Abacha died in 1998, and another military government came, and after that, civilian administration came. Nigeria had returned to democracy, and Muhammadu Buhari sought to become the president of Nigeria. So, in December 2006, he was nominated as the consensus candidate of the ANPP, All Nigeria People's Party, to contest the 2007 presidential election. So he contested, but he lost to Umaru Musa Yar'Adua of the PDP. He was the person that won. Yar'Adua was the person that won. Buhari was not satisfied with that. So, in 2011, he again contested for the same office, but this time around he contested under the CPC, Congress for Progressive Change. But again, he lost to Goodluck Jonathan of the PDP. At that time, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua had died. Goodluck Jonathan, who was his deputy, became the president of Nigeria. And the second election that Buhari contested for the office of president, he did so against sitting president Goodluck Jonathan, and he lost to the sitting president. He wasn't still satisfied. In 2015, he again contested for the #1 office, but under the APC. APC is the coming together of 3 different political parties, right, who collapsed their interest to form a united front to wrestle power from the government of Jonathan, and they did so, removing incumbent President Jonathan and bringing in Muhammadu Buhari as the president of Nigeria. Now, he was sworn in on the 29th day of May 2015, and this is Muhammadu Buhari. This is Aisha, the second wife. This is Muhammadu Buhari, and this is the then Chief Justice of Nigeria, and this is the Chief Registrar of the Supreme Court conducting the swearing-in ceremony. And by this, Buhari became the second person in the history of Nigeria to serve as military president and also have the privilege of serving as civilian president of the same country. The first person that had that record is Olusegun Obasanjo, who served as military president of Nigeria from 1976 to 1979, and later served as civilian president of Nigeria from 1999 to 2007. Buhari became the second person to hold that history. While alive, Buhari was married to Safinatu Yusuf in 1971. That was his first wife. And together they had 5 children, 4 girls, 1 boy. In 1988, Buhari and Safinatu went separate ways. They divorced. Okay? And Safinatu lived from that time that they divorced up to 2006 when she died. Buhari married a second wife in 1989. And that second wife was Aisha Halilu. Aisha is the second wife of the late president, and they got married in December 1989. Again, they also had 5 children together, 4 girls and 1 boy. Altogether, Buhari had a total of 10 children, 8 daughters and 2 sons. Coincidentally, the 2 wives, both the first wife and the second wife, they gave birth to 5 children. They also gave birth to 4 girls each and 1 boy each, giving Buhari 10 children. Buhari had a number of grandchildren. These are his grandchildren standing with him, smiling and playing with the grandfather. And this is Buhari with his second family. This is Aisha. This is Buhari. This is the only son of Aisha. And these are his 4 children. This is the larger family of Muhammadu Buhari, comprising all his 10 children and the grandchildren and the surviving wife. Buhari died on 13th July 2025 in a hospital in London, United Kingdom, while receiving, quotes, treatment after being hospitalized. This is according to Garba Shehu, who was his spokesperson throughout his presidency and also continued to be his spokesperson up to his death. Buhari was 82 years old at the time of his death. He was a devout Muslim and will be buried in accordance with Islamic funeral rites. We understand that the President of Nigeria has already deployed the Vice President of Nigeria to go accompany the corpse from the United Kingdom and bring him back to Nigeria for the obsequies. Following his death, President Muhammadu Buhari has described his legacy as, quote, endearing and significant to Nigeria's democratic path. Several other persons have sent tribute to the family, and it is expected that in the coming days, lots of persons within and outside Nigeria will send tributes to the family and to the government of Nigeria over the passing of their former president, Muhammadu Buhari. For us, we say a happy repose to his soul, and we pray God to accept his soul in his dwelling. Many thanks for watching.